What's up, ballers? Jacob here with AllDriveNoDrop, talking about the new Paddletek Bantam ESQ-Cs. These are basically like the ALW-C Bantams, but they have the 5.5-inch handle. Also talking about the new and improved ALW-C Bantams that have the new 5.25-inch handles. Basically, you have four options. You're going to have the ALW one that in 14.3 millimeters and 12.7 millimeters. And that's going to have a 5.25-inch handle. And then the ESQs are going to also be in 14.3 and 12.7 with a 5.5-inch handle. So really it comes down to what thickness you want, what handle length you want. They all are similar. It just is going to be what your tastes are. And right now, as I'm recording this video, the price is $230 and it goes down to $207 with the code AllDriveNoDrop. And just keep in mind that the discount offered by not only my code, but all the other reviewers' codes is going to expire on November 25th. So if you want to get these paddles and you want the 10% discount, before November 25th is your time to get these. Right now, I don't know when the codes will become active with the 10% off again after that. That's just what I've been told. I think these paddles are hitting a special place in the market. We're going to take a look at the specs and everything, but let's just take a quick look here at the old ALW compared to the new one. So this is the old one. It has this pointy end on the cap, shorter handle, 5-inch handle here. Super lightweight, obviously. This is the new one. You have a flat butt cap, and honestly, before they were offering a grip circumference for the ALW, like you could choose a smaller, I think it was 4-inch and 4.125. It seems like they're only offering the 4.25-inch on this new one, and I think on the ESQ, so keep that in mind if you really love that smaller circumference grip. It is 4.25, so hopefully they're offering the 4.125 and 2 in the future. I'm not sure. So when you stack them up side by side, you can actually kind of see that the new one is slightly longer. So still standard dimensions. We'll get into that in the specs, but I just wanted to show you the differences between the old ALW and the new one. So you can see here the difference between the ESQ and the new ALW-C. You have that longer handle. You can really grip it up to like 5.75 on this ESQ-C. You probably could grip it up to 5.5 on the new ALW. But you do lose some paddle face with the ESQ-C, so keep that in mind. They have the same dimensions, but you're going to lose a little bit of the paddle face. So let's jump into the dimensions real quick here. We'll kind of break it down between all three of these. We'll throw up the twist weight, the swing weight, everything on the screen for you all at once, so you can kind of see a breakdown between the four varieties. They're all pretty similar, but a couple differences we'll touch on, and I'll give you my weight setup numbers too. Okay, so I measured these, and we're looking at all of these as 16 by 8-inch paddles. So they list it as 15 and 15/16 and 7 and 7/8 for the width. I got 16 and 8 inches. Not much difference between what they list, so go with whatever you want to there. That's not going to make a difference. Let's go with the weights first. So we got up on the screen the 12.7 ESQ, I have 7.9, 14.3 is ESQ is 7.9, and they got 7.6 for the 12.7 ALW and 7.8 for the 14.3. So you can select the weight there if you're looking to get a lighter weight or you're looking to get a heavier weight. And then you take a look at the swing weights. The swing weights are actually pretty close here. The 12.7 ESQ is 104, 14.3 ESQ is 105, and then the 12.7 ALW is 103, 14.3 ALW is 105. Twist weights are all pretty similar there. They do get a weird thing. I think this happened on some of the Bantam TKOs too, where the thinner model actually has a higher twist weight. So keep in mind, these are Gen 1 paddles, which means they're not thermoform. They don't have any perimeter edge foam, and they're just has a polypropylene core. But it looks like they have some carbon steel strips to help with the perimeter weighting. They did the TKO CX models. They used some beads, steel beads, but those were coming loose and it looks like they switched to carbon steel strips. So this is almost like pre-weighting your paddle like you do with tungsten tape or something, and just getting that better twist weight. And it says that Paddletek has this in their infographic, that they do it for both the new ALW waters and the ESQ models. We'll talk about my tungsten tape setup later and how that ended up playing out. But let's get into the gameplay thoughts here. I want to just break down how I kind of feel about these different paddles. This review is mainly focusing on the ESQ-Cs, but let me just touch on the new upgraded ALW water Bantams because I do enjoy them. Also, love her logo. I mean, that's awesome. I want my logo on the paddle. It just looks so much fun. I think if you were looking for that longer handle, but you only wanted slightly longer, then these are a great option. What I'm going to say about the ESQ-Cs is pretty similar to how I feel about the 12.7 and 14.3 ALW water Bantams. So if it interests you what I'm saying about the ESQ-Cs, but you want a slightly shorter handle, it's going to apply to these as well. Just want to clear that up because we're going to talk about the ESQ-Cs in the gameplay thoughts. Let's go. First of all these paddles get amazing spin. They come very gritty. I love it. There's nothing like that fresh grit, and especially with a low swing weight, high maneuverable paddle, you can just put a ton of spin on the ball. All these things are getting over 2100 RPM. I got from high 2100s to mid 2200s, so great spin all around. The ESQ-C 12.7 was what I thought was going to be my favorite, so we'll start with that. And playing stock, I think the sweet spot is pretty good for these are not thermoform paddles, but still it needs a little bit of weight to help it out, I think, especially with how low of a swing weight. I wanted a little bit more plowed through. These things all have a ton of pop. Like, honestly, they're all at the top, like we're talking 97 to 100 percentile on pop, especially once you get that counterpunch going. So great pop. Power is already pretty good at that lower swing weight. We're talking about very good wide body power paddles. For the 12.7, 5.5 inch handle, you can put quite a bit of power on the ball, but once you get that tungsten tape setup that I'll show you right now. Let's show the tungsten tape setup. So I had a electrical tape on here and my tungsten tape fell off because I was trying something different. But anyway, I go all the way around the paddle face, just like ALW does, but my strip is probably a little lighter. So I start here at the bottom corner, and I go all the way around the head, and that is the 0.5 gram per inch tape, and that's from Bodie Pickleball. That's where I use all my tungsten tape. So that takes the swing weight from 104 to 121, and it takes the twist weight up to 8.3. So super stable paddle at that point, and it's a little bit less maneuverable, of course, and you don't have to go all the way around. You could stop at this corner, but that's it. So let's get back into the gameplay now. So we'll talk about it with stock real quick. It's fine stock. Like it really is good stock, but to unlock the full potential of these paddles, you need to weight them up, and they just become cannons. I mean, they're already firing pretty hard without the tape setup, but once you add the tungsten tape, these things have some of the most power for the wide bodies, and we'll get into some comparisons. There's really only one thing that is competing with them that's not officially out yet, maybe two things. So great spin, great feel. Honestly, these have become my favorite Bantams. Like I was really into the TKO-Cs, but these are my favorite Bantams now. The ESQ-Cs and the ALW water Cs for the Bantams are my favorite. I think that it has one of the best power, pop, and control with the sweet spot aspects of the lineup. So it just gets everything done. It is going to be on the stiffer side, but it's not as stiff as those TKO-Cs. The wide body shape really helps bring this paddle together, and that's what I really like about the ESQ-Cs. And with the 5.5-inch handle, it makes everything so much smoother. You can really whip through the balls on those rolls, on those flicks, and it really helps with the two-handed backhand. You're not struggling for space, and I think it will be a long enough handle for people even with slightly larger hands. Now, for the 14.3, so the 12.7 is going to have a little bit more pop, a little bit less power than the 14.3. So if you like 14 millimeters, go with the 12.7. If you like 16 millimeters, go with the 14.3. 14.3 actually ended up being my favorite just because I was getting more power and it just felt like I had a better connection to the ball. The 12.7 might be too poppy for some, and that wasn't really the problem with me. I just felt like the control was a little bit better with the 14.3, and everything was just flowing better for me. I do think that your counters are going to be better with the 12.7. So everything was flowing really nice. Actually, was playing this stock, and really, when you're playing these stocks, you can really whip through the ball. So I think some people will like playing this stock better than with any weight setup, or maybe you're just going to go with like a 3 grams at the 4 and 8 o'clock corners. But playing it stock is fun. I did prefer with my weight setup on the 14.3 too, wrapping the whole head in the 0.5 gram per inch strips. So amazing power, great pop, great control with this, and making that sweet spot very large with that tungsten tape and not too stiff. Adding the tape around the head also softens it up a little bit. I did not have any problem with the stiffness and getting, tennis elbow or anything. So let's jump, and then let's talk about the dinks. So honestly, dinking and at the net in firefights is where this paddle excels. You would think like, oh, it's so poppy, but honestly, you can soften it up, and you can learn to control that pop to make it for your benefit. And once you put the weight setup on here, hitting resets is it's pretty easy to get adjusted to hitting resets with this. I mean, I always say with these poppier paddles, it takes a little time if you're not used to it. But I think that when you are transitioning from a lower pop paddle to a higher pop paddle, getting something in the wide body shape is the best way to transition. So besides all that, with the pop power combo and the good sweet spot and the great sweet spot when you add the tungsten tape setup, I really, really enjoyed the performance of these paddles. Let's kind of get into what I think the differences between these paddles and maybe some of their competition are, and we'll jump into that now. Okay, so maybe you're looking at transitioning to these ALW-Cs or the Bantam ESQ-Cs. You're coming from a Monarch All-Core or a Fat Boy, or you're coming from a Honolulu J3K or a Rhombus Pulsar FX. So I think that you are going to want these paddles if you want something that is super maneuverable, has elite pop, and has better power, but is going to sacrifice on control and sweet spot a little bit compared to those other thermoform paddles. Now, the great thing about these is they all come at lower swing weight than pretty much all the other wide bodies on the market, while they still provide you great pop and power and allows you to customize for what you want. They also compete in spin with all the other paddles. So it just depends what you are looking for. I think that if you really, really enjoy the low swing weight and that's the most important thing to you, then there's nothing else on the market that's going to compete with these. If the swing weight and lightweight options are the things that are most important to you. Now, I know people are going to ask me about how this compares to the Ripple R2, the Rhombus Ripple R2. And the Rhombus Ripple R2, I can't say too much more about it at this moment, but yes, it's going to compete with these. I think it is going to be harder to control. It plays more like a Gen 3 Joola Scorpeus 14 millimeter, if that's what you're looking for. So I'll just leave it at that for now. Though I think that if you're looking for something that is like right into the intro of power paddles in that wide body shape, that these Paddleteks these Paddletek Bantams are going to be what you are looking for. They're really great paddles. They are on the pricier end. I know that. It just is what it is. Everyone with their power paddles is pricing them up quite a bit. So let's, in one more time for my tungsten tape setup, I did want to show, okay, so with the old ALW waters, I did do these pre-cut strips in the middle on the sides and then at the top, just because people are always asking me if they only have pre-cut strips. That's the setup I would recommend, and honestly, I need to try this on the ESQ-Cs too, because I do like this setup. So if you have pre-cut strips, go with 3 grams on the sides, in the middle, and at the top. Try that out. And then if you are looking to get wild and you want to copy what I'm doing, 0.5 gram per inch strip all the way around the head of the paddle. And yeah, this Bodhi tungsten tape looks really clean with the paddle. Honestly, you can almost not see it, so that's nice too. That's what I've enjoyed. I think that these just hit so hard. You get great spin, great maneuverability, and a great sweet spot with this setup. I wouldn't do this with every paddle, but since these come in so low stock, then that's what I would try. And then if you don't want to go all the way around, you don't want to sacrifice too much swing weight and hand speed, you could start from this corner, just go up to this corner, try that out. That would be my recommendation for these paddles and their setups. And I mean, in conclusion, I think these paddles fit the market for power paddles in the wide body shape. They play really well, and they have so much customization opportunities for you. And if you want to play it stock, then there's just nothing else like it at that swing weight right now. So yes, I do recommend them if those are the qualities you're looking for, and if you're okay with the high price. I should also mention that with that price does come a lifetime warranty, so that's one thing to also consider. You also are not going to have to worry about core crushing with these paddles like their thermoformed rivals. So just keep that in mind. Almost forgot to mention the lifetime warranty, which is very important to consider when you're thinking about spending this much on a paddle. Now, and they do have some of the best customer service, and you can call them. I'm not sure if they want me to say that, but you can call them and get good customer service as well. Also, made in the USA. Throw that in there too. That's all I have on these Paddletek Bantams, the new ALW-Cs and the ESQ-Cs. Really enjoy them. Definitely going to be bringing these out in my rotation, because I was moving away from wide bodies just because I've been preferring the hybrid shapes. But these are very fun. I am going to keep using them in the rotation because they just have a play experience unlike other paddles. So just, got to keep things fun and fresh. Anyways, please leave any comments down below. I would love to hear from you about what you think about these Bantams and these ESQ-Cs. Tell me which one you've played with, if you already played with them. I appreciate any of the feedback, and then subscribe. You don't want to miss anything in the future. We got some good stuff coming up, and like the video if you've enjoyed the experience. And thank you. Have a great day and go play some pickleball.